Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to our science class. Before we proceed to our new lesson, let's do pre-assessment. For this activity, you will answer questions based from our previous topic. You will do in quizzes and the game code will be provided during the online class. Now, look at this picture. This picture shows a pot of boiling water. As you can see, there was a steam was being formed. What do you call this process wherein the liquid turns into gas? Very good. It is a process of evaporation. Today, we're going to learn about lesson 3.5, liquid to gas. Let's begin. The learning objectives of this lesson. First, to identify the different examples of evaporation. Second, to analyze how liquid turns into gas when it's being heated. So at the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify the different examples of evaporation and you will analyze how liquid turns into gas when it's being heated. Your task number 1, read the following keywords using the glossary of your student book. The keywords are evaporate and steam. When we say evaporate, when a liquid evaporates, it gradually becomes less and less because it's changing from a liquid to a gas. When we say steam, it is the hot vapor formed when a liquid boils. Now, watch
Evaporation.
this video
In this
carefully.
video, we are going to learn about evaporation. Evaporation is the process by which water gets converted from liquid form to a vapor form. Evaporation from the oceans accounts for 80% of the water delivered as precipitation, with the balance occurring on land, inland waters, and plant surfaces. Let us do a small activity. Place a beaker containing water on a stove. Let the water boil. If you continue to heat the water, it turns into steam and evaporates. Add some spoons of salt to water another beaker and stir it well. The salt gets dissolved. Now heat the salt solution. The water gets evaporated, leaving the salt behind. Seawater contains salt mixed in it. Common salt is one amongst them. When seawater is allowed to stand in shallow pits, water gets heated by sunlight and slowly turns into water vapor through evaporation. In a few days, leaving the salts behind, water evaporates completely. Common salt is then obtained from this mixture of salts by further purification.
When water in liquid state is heated, it evaporates and turns to a gas. You cannot see this happening, but you can see the effects of evaporation by looking at how puddles get smaller and how levels of water drop in a lake. You can also observe steam forming when water is boiled in a pot or kettle. What is evaporation? Evaporation is the change of state from liquid to a gas. You can see other examples of evaporation in daily life. What are the examples of evaporation? First, hot tea gets cool over time due to evaporation. Hot molecules on the surface get evaporated, taking away heat with them. Another example of evaporation: wet clothes dry in the sun due to evaporation. The water in wet clothes take heat energy from the sun and gets evaporated. Another, drying of a map floor. Another example, drying up of water bodies like lakes and rivers. Drying of wet hair after some time. Now, you know already what are the different examples of evaporation, and what is all about evaporation. Remember, evaporation is a change of state. It causes a liquid to change to a gas. This can happen when liquids are cold or hot. You can see other example of evaporation in daily life. For example, puddles dry up after rain because the water evaporates. Paint dries on a picture or wall because the water in the paint evaporates. For your first assessment, you will do in quizzes. This will be the link and how you're going to join the online game. The game code will be provided during the online class, and the time limit for this activity is only 5 minutes. What causes water to evaporate? Evaporation happens when a liquid substance becomes a gas. When water is heated, it evaporates. The molecules move and vibrate so quickly that they escape into the atmosphere as molecules of water vapor. Heat from the sun and wind also powers the evaporation process. What is the role of evaporation and condensation in the water cycle? When we say water cycle describes how water evaporates from the surface of the earth, rises into the atmosphere, cools and condenses into rain or snow in clouds, and falls again to the surface as precipitation. The cycling of water in and out of the atmosphere is a significant aspect of the weather patterns on Earth. So, what is the role of evaporation and condensation in the water cycle? The role of evaporation and condensation in the water cycle is to recycle and redistribute the water in our nature. Evaporation is the process of turning of liquid into water vapor. Heat energy from the sun makes it possible for water to evaporate and turns it into gas. Water vapor turns into liquid water in the form of clouds. This process is called condensation. When the clouds are heavy, it will start to fall as rain. Without evaporation and condensation, water will not be distributed and recycled. If there would be no evaporation and condensation, there will be no clouds, meaning rain will also not occur. Now, look at this picture. Hyomed did experiment to see what conditions affect evaporation from a lake. Look at the experiment and discuss what is happening. Why do you think putting the containers of water into a fridge would affect the rate of evaporation? As you can see in this table, container A of water, the volume of water at start is 100 ml and the volume of water after 2 hours is 90 ml. For container B, the volume of water at start is 100 ml and the volume of water after 2 hours is 50 ml. And for container C, the volume of water at start is 100 ml and the volume of water after 2 hours is 10 ml. So which container of water evaporate fast and which one evaporates slowest? Remember, evaporation is greater when the temperature is higher because the liquid particles or molecules have more energy and move faster. So likelihood the particles will escape or evaporate from the liquid is greater. Evaporation only occurs at the surface of a liquid, where the liquid molecules are able to escape into the air and become a gas. So the bigger the surface area, the greater the evaporation. Movement of air over the surface of a liquid will also increase the rate of evaporation. Boiling differs from evaporation because the whole liquid is changing state at specific temperature. A high rate of evaporation will help things dry quickly. A low rate will cause things to dry slowly. If there is a large surface area with lots of air movement and the temperature is high, then evaporation will happen quickly. If the temperature is low, the air is still, and the surface area is small, then the rate of evaporation will be slow. Now, you know already about the process of evaporation. Remember, evaporation? It is change of state. It causes a liquid to change to a gas. This can happen when liquids are cold or hot. For your assessment, you will do in quizzes. We will have an online game, and this will be the link on how you're going to join the online game. The game code will be provided during the online class, and the time limit for this activity is only 5 minutes. For the plenary of what you have learned today, you will do in Mentimeter. The link will be provided during the online class, and the time limit is only 2 minutes. Thank you for listening, my dear students. For additional activities, just download the homework task PDF in the parent portal and do each activity. Thank you and have a nice day. Keep safe, everyone.